Hello everyone, and welcome to today's IFSEC Global Webinar, where we'll dive into the details of ECHO, exploring what the initiative is, why it was introduced, and where the programme is currently at. Thank you to our sponsors for today's session, CSL and BT Redcare, and a thank you to the NSI for helping us put this together today. I'm James Moore, editor of IFSEC Global, and I'll be your moderator. So what exactly are we talking about over the next 45 minutes? Well, it's all about ECHO, or to give it its full name, Electronic Call Handling Operations. To give some brief background, ECHO is a not-for-profit organisation working on automating the transmission of alarm signalling to blue light services. The aim is to reduce delays in the dispatch of emergency responders by automating the process between the Alarm Receiving Centre, or ARC, and emergency services. And today we'll be exploring the what, why, how, where, and when of ECHO, covering everything from what it is and why it was developed to the benefits for the security industry, and in particular for approved installers and ARCs. The webinar will no doubt be of key interest to professional security installers in the UK who are installing systems suitable for police URN or are planning to gain approval in the near future. It will also be of interest to alarm receiving centres who are not yet ECHO connected or maybe in the early stages of preparation for connectivity. But we'll find out more about all that from today's experts. I just need to cover a few housekeeping notes first, and then we'll get started. This webinar is designed to be interactive, and the dock of widgets at the bottom of your screen will allow you to learn about today's speakers, download resources, share this webinar via social media outlets, and participate in the Q&A session that will take place at the end of the presentation. The slides will advance automatically throughout the event, so don't worry about those. And towards the end of our webinar, we may ask you to complete our survey, found on the right-hand side of your screen. Please take a minute to fill out this before leaving us today. Your feedback will provide us with valuable information on how we can improve future events. Lastly, if you are experiencing any technical problems at all, please just click the Help widget found at the bottom of your screen, or simply type your issue into the Q&A area, and we will be glad to offer one-on-one assistance. Now, on to the presentation. Discussing today's topic is Mark Taylor, General Manager at ECHO. Mark has over 20 years of experience in the security industry and has held several senior management roles in various sectors. Mark will be describing some of the technical and practical challenges faced and overcome as the industry came together to future-proof the efficiency of alarm handling and help deliver prioritised and speedier police responses to confirmed alarms. He highlights the part played by all the ECHO stakeholders and partners, and will chart the progress of ECHO's journey from concept to launch earlier this year. We'll also have David Mayer, Manager of the Security Systems Unit from the London Metropolitan Police, available for the Q&A session following Mark's presentation to provide the view from the police viewpoint. The full speaker bios can, of course, be found in the widget on your screen too. So without further ado, I will hand over to Mark for his presentation.
Good morning and welcome to this installer webinar on ECHO with myself, Mark Taylor, the General Manager. You will have seen that ECHO has been communicating about the changes in the alarm industry, obviously specifically on the subject of automated call handling. What I'm going to describe to you today is the key fundamentals of why, what, how, where and when the ECHO journey started and what it's all about. The main key points that needed to be addressed and overcome, and right through to where we actually are today. So what is the context? The context of ECHO is based on the success of the rollout of the URN partnership between the police and the industry, obviously going back a number of years. And the success that generated, as you can see there, alarms down by 90%, false alarms down by 90%, the alarm rate at an all-time low, and obviously immense savings for the public purse and a belief in it being better and a more professional approach and success within the industry. The audience for this, around 1.5 million active alarm installations, between 90 and 100 ARCs, the alarm receiving centres, and 44 police forces involved in this matrix. The context and why this was born were based on the success of the URN rollout and the all-time low level of alarm response. Police introduced into their MPCC guidelines that they wanted to go to automated call handling. And what this was going to require was a cross-industry between the police and the security industry response, agreed standards, accredited certification bodies, and that the target for this would be the approved installers and alarm receiving centres, with the desire of achieving robust intruder signalling. So in 2015 there was a revision to the MPCC guidelines, and it stated that from the 1st of April 2020 it would be mandatory for hold-up alarms activations to be transferred electronically. How was this going to be achieved? Well, it was going to have to be achieved through automation. It needed a unified and automated call handling system, one approach that could manage the risks, improve the quality, and so that the outcome for all parties, whether that is people on site, whether it is the protection of assets, but also the resource of the police and obviously the public purse strings. And again, as you can see there, the extended view of the sequencing is those 1.5 million alarm systems through the alarm receiving centres, and then basically information being transferred via telephone calls to the police forces involving call handling people on either side of the line, that situation. And the thought is to introduce Echo into that, to automate that process, to take out the call handling side so that increased accuracy of information, so there could be nothing misheard, checking the URN numbers and everything being automated and quicker and more accurate. At the time, the police perspective on this was outlined by Ken Meanwhile, who was the compliance manager of the PCPI. What they highlighted was that the current format was from ARC to call taker, then they would move that to the dispatcher inside the police command and control room, and then they would decide on the response appropriate to the event taking place. So the question, why to automate? Well, it would automatically create an incident on the police command and control system. It frees up resource in terms of the call taker. Because of the accuracy of the information being transferred electronically, it eliminates risk of error, misheard, mistranscribed events and numbers, URNs or addresses. And that would allow the police to arrive at the scene quicker, which obviously is a benefit to all parties concerned. And actually there was an estimate that the saving could be between 1 and 4 minutes. Challenges facing the police, they would only accept valid URN numbers from Echo. Invalid signals would be rejected, and that would come straight back to the alarm receiving centre, and they would get that information immediately. On the practicality side, the police forces had to program their IT systems and carry out upgrade, and there was an issue around funding, and at that time was seeking industry help to fund the automation of the alarms and the Echo system. So what was the industry response? Well, based on the guidelines, the date of 2020, 1st of April, the industry kicked into let's deal with it. The original stakeholders, the bodies that got involved in this, were the BSIA, the FSA and the FIA. And then there were a number of partners that also joined forces with these bodies to move Echo through to completion and actually running. People like the NSI, BAIF, MPCC, the SSAIB, as you can see there, British APCO, JSAR, and the National Fire Chiefs Council. So what is Echo? Well, Echo is a not-for-profit company. It was formed in August 2017. We already stated that the aim was to deliver low-cost, resilient, industry-funded automated call handling service. Some initial startup money to explore the avenues, define the specification, etc., was obtained from the government through JSAR. And in 2017, working groups were set up to get about the development of the technical solution and what would be the business model. So what happened with that? Well, in 2019, the system design options had been assessed. ECHO entered into a tender process to find a suitable provider of the services, and the tender was won by a company called ABR, who now host and developed the ECHO platform. And further testing of the solution was required and moved forward, and the design of an onboarding process for ARCs, which is actually a portal now that the ARCs can all access. At the same time, it was announced how this was going to be funded, and the £2 per URN element was announced. URN element means that for Intruder or PA, hold-up alarm, each of those is declared as an element, and the £2 charge is for each of those services. If they are both on a site, then obviously the cost is £4. At that time, ECHO also entered into communicating with the industry, providing a method for ARCs to express their interest and to sign up to be kept informed of the progress of ARC via the ECHO website. So the technical challenge, well, on two sides were solutions to be resolved. On the ARC side, then, all of the alarm monitoring software and the main providers had to get on board. They then had to be able to communicate via the ECHO platform with the police command and control software main providers, people like Sopra Steria, Microsoft, Saab, Unisys, as you can see mentioned there. And that was taken up, and the information sent out to all of the interested parties, the communication entered into, and the design specifications and the interface information sent out to all parties. ECHO platform also needed to move the events and the signals and the electronic core handling between the ARCs and the police forces. So from the ECHO portal, all of the information is put onto the police networks, the police national networks, and then obviously that goes straight into the command and control software on the dispatch side, missing out the incoming aspect of that. And from the ARCs to get to their information and their event to ECHO, CSL and BT Redcare came on board and are providing that connectivity through their ARC network at BT and the Gemini network at CSL. Basically, the alarm monitoring software outputs the signals onto one or both of those connection paths through to ECHO, and then ECHO puts it into the police force over the national network. If there is any break in any of those aspects, then the ARC is fully aware of that immediately if they lose any of the connectivity, either at the police end, the CSL or BT end, or even if it's the ECHO itself. So ECHO then moved on into proof of concept engagement with an ARC. We were very lucky to have Banham Security and their ARC enter into the process and to be a partner in this in 2017. And Banham could see the benefits for ARCs, for the police and for the client. And they said about doing the testing with ECHO to provide the gateway that allowed them to pass URNs to Essex Police for both the hold-up and confirmed intruder. And also they were using the Monitor Sentinel platform for that to pass the messages backwards and forwards. So it was proven, one through ECHO and one through the alarm monitoring software, that this concept could actually go ahead, and those signals were received in Essex in their command and control software. So what needed to happen? Obviously, needed to be extensive testing, checking the integrity of the data, ensuring that there was authentication of all of those aspects, and that an active network was put in place on both sides of the ECHO portal, and that the alarm monitoring software could integrate both into Echo through the connectivity, and that these messages were delivered into the police command and control software in an actionable and clear format. As part of that, obviously, Echo also needed to practically roll this out to have the onboarding process for the ARCs, to be able to test individual connectivity between the Echo portal and the individual ARCs, to make sure that they were happy not only with configuration and that their alarm monitoring software was set up correctly, but also giving them the opportunity to test the system, because Echo runs an actual live test environment. So all testing is done at Echo and not actually with any live police forces at all. And once an ARC has established all that, they will then complete their onboarding by making a declaration of their URN numbers. That will be then sent to the individual police forces to tell them that the ARC is looking to connect. Once that connection is validated by the police force, the ARC will get an automated response telling them that they're now live and they can transfer all of their traffic through the Echo portal. And at that stage, obviously, practical things like contracts, etc., are exchanged, and the ARC is live on the Echo system. In terms of what this means and the journey that we're actually on at the moment, what else is involved in the ARC connectivity? Well, once a police force is on board, its IT is Echo ready. They will want ARCs to connect to Echo, and that is expected that this rollout will continue progressively through the coming months. Echo ready police forces will require their ARCs to move onto the Echo system. They will provide the ARCs with a notice period in which they can get set up. If they're already an Echo connected police ARC, because they can connect it to other police forces, then they can just make their URN declaration and immediately go live onto any police force that joins the Echo system. If they're already contracted, that contract actually will serve for any police forces. If not, then they go through the normal process and will complete the rest of the onboarding process. The process for connectivity is invitation based. The ARCs will receive electronically invitations to register on the ARC, to make their URN declarations. They will get the certification required to actually be able to connect to Echo in conjunction with the configuration carried out by the alarm monitoring software company. There are three requirements really that they need to have in place to be able to be Echo connected. One is they will need an Echo compatible version of their alarm monitoring software. The second, they will need to have in place and choose their connectivity to Echo, whether that is through BT Redcare, CSL, or using both of them to provide extra resilience. And they will also need Cyber Essentials certification. This is a requirement to be able to be connected to Echo, which is connected to the police national networks, and it is a requirement of those networks that Cyber Essentials certification is held. At that time, when they've got all those in place, then obviously, I think as I said earlier, they will declare the number of active URNs, the connection will be validated by a police force, and they will be connected, and then the commercials will start of invoicing. Contracts will already have been signed at that to allow them to connect to the live system. So in summary, not complete summary, but Echo has been 4 years in the making. It's digitising the call handling process. It's adding value to the industry and the blue light services, and it has been developed by the industry for the industry. And Echo is a not-for-profit industry service. And obviously the question, which I'm sure all of you are interested in, is the practicality of what's in it for ARCs and installers. Increased efficiency and reduced times, less errors in passing calls from ARCs to emergency services, a common platform which is open to all alarm receiving centres that are approved and accredited. It is only for the professional end of the market. You do need to both be an approved installer and it needs to be monitored by an approved and accredited alarm receiving centre. And also, obviously, it has the potential to open up to new technology in the future, to added value services to emergency services, and to receive quicker and more accurate information on feedback on events that have been passed through. One of the benefits with the Echo is that because it goes straight into the police command and control software on the dispatch side, it does actually improve the prioritisation of genuine alarms passed by professional installers through the Echo system. It will go straight into the dispatch side. It'll be instant in terms of the information that will be held, the URN numbers, the addresses and all that information, and allow a quicker and better response from the police to the activation. In the future, it will also be able to enable perhaps electronic URN management, but it really is for installers and ARCs a key differentiator for the professional approved market, where if you are an installer that is NSI or SSAIB approved and you're using an accredited ARC and you are able to obtain URNs, you will be in a very much differentiated position to anybody that is using any other form of monitoring service or DIY type alarms. This is very much for the professional end of the market and is a solution driven to meet the MPCC policy that was redated April 2020. An update on where we are in terms of connectivity. Essex Police and the London Metropolitan Police both went live on the Echo on the 1st of February. On the 1st of April, they issued notice to all alarm receiving centres via Echo that their expectations that were by the 30th of September, all ARCs would be connected and all traffic for hold up and intruder would be passed via the Echo platform. There are a number of other forces in preparation for connecting to connecting to Echo, and they are at the moment looking at planning of IT resource, upgrading their systems to be Echo connected, and managing the process of when they will come on board. This is just a slide to show you the typical journey that an alarm receiving centre has taken through that 6-month notice period. Again, the main things that they needed to have and put in place were an Echo compatible version of the alarm monitoring software, the connectivity pathway through either BT, Redcare or CSL, and also to have their Cyber Essentials certification. All along the way, we as Echo have tried to assist the ARCs with information about Cyber Essentials, being an interface between all of the parties to point people in the right direction, to help them understand exactly the scope of what they were required to do, and so that they didn't either not meet the specifications, or also in terms of Cyber Essentials that they didn't go too far in terms of the scope that was required, costing them more money than they needed actually to achieve the level of certification that they required for the connectivity to Echo. So by 30th of September, in ready for 1st of October go live, ARCs to have completed the onboarding, the registration with Echo, to have all their items in place, and to have made their URN declarations to Echo, so that once they'd signed a contract, they could then go live onto the system. And that is the case of what's happened for a huge proportion of ARCs that have URN connections for Intruder or hold up alarm to Essex Police. Echo have also tried to assist and promote in terms of information. One of the things that we have specifically for installers is an Enduser Sheet, installing the virtues of a police connected system over the Echo platform, and the things that they can, as end user customers, can expect to achieve: faster response and faster response, prioritization, confidence in the fully approved and accredited pipeline that they actually would be entering into. And this is a certification, a flyer that would be useful not only for potential new customers that installers can give to them, but also existing customers to explain the benefits of staying with a professionally installed and approved alarm. Other places where you can get information on Echo, we have the Echo website, which contains news, downloads, updates the connectivity of police forces and RC. You can see there, if you click on the tabs, how many Echo connected ARCs are, how many Echo connected police forces. Also, any suppliers that produce approved alarm signalling equipment can register as an Echo ready supplier, so you can have confidence in the equipment that they are selling to you, that it will work with Echo. Status, as I say, at the moment, Essex Police and London Metropolitan Police on board. And we also do a lot of social media, so as well as webinars that we've been lucky enough to be hosted for this one, putting a lot of information and messages out on forums such as LinkedIn, etc. So there's a lot of places to go to be able to get further information on the Echo platform. So I thank you very much for your time, and we will shortly be answering any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Really interesting to hear about the Echo story, right from sort of concept through to launch earlier this year, and obviously the positive impact it is set to play in the industry. David, I wonder if you wanted to add anything from your side on the police viewpoint, and how Echo has been implemented at the Met, and any advice for other police forces at all?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, yeah, can do.
As Mark said, we issued a notice to say we wanted to go sort of live on Echo and get on sort of onboard ARCs by 1st of October. We haven't succeeded in getting all of the ARCs on board, but currently where we're at is we have just under 50% of our alarm traffic coming in via the Echo hub. And we anticipate that by the end of the year, that should be up to about 70% of our alarm traffic. I regularly check the CAD incidents that have come in through Echo to make sure they've been responded to and dealt with correctly. Haven't had any issues. We've had no complaints about how those particular alarm incidents have been dealt with. So far, touch wood, it's looking very good. I think looking forward, what we would like to see is, although we said that we've got a deadline the 1st of October, we appreciate that it's a process that needs a bit of work. So I would think that we'd be looking at trying to get 100% take up by the 1st of April 2020, which I think is a more than reasonable projection. So we're going to be, in the new year, be actively pushing those ARCs that haven't yet been onboarded to get themselves in a position where they are Echo ready, and really actively trying to get as many on board by the 1st of April. The significance of 1st of April is also that we are going over to a new command and control platform around about the same time, and I've promised my management that the amount of manual call taking on that new command and control platform will be minimal. So we'll be aiming at as getting as much as that traffic through the Echo hub and avoiding that manual interaction. Because as Mark said earlier on, apart from the speed, an average processing time of literally seconds from the time that the incident is passed to the time they get an acknowledgement and an incident number back from the police force. there is also probably more errors made during that manual interaction than people appreciate, because terminology is slightly different. You know, the people's concept of what a visually confirmed alarm is, or what a sequentially confirmed alarm is, although it might seem quite straightforward to someone in the industry, there has been quite a bit of confusion about the terminology, and therefore errors are made when calls are being passed, and it's the absolute ideal way of getting rid of those errors. So we'll be pushing certainly to get as close to 100% of the ARCs on board by the 1st of April. And something I didn't mention was, while I've been checking the incidents, one of the things I was interested in is whether the cancellations come through, because obviously the incidents are being dispatched quicker because they're going straight to our dispatchers and not going through the manual process. So therefore, I was wondering whether that had an impact on cancellations. But because the cancellation messages are coming through as quick, there hasn't really been an impact in that. So where a user has sent an abort signal or has unset the system, those cancellations have come through and units haven't been assigned, which again is a benefit to us, because it's no wasted resources in responding to calls which are being cancelled very quickly. So yeah, in short, it's all good, and we'll be pushing for the 1st of April 2022.
Fantastic. I suppose, as you say, it's all about minimising that human error part of things, and trying to get that automation through. How exactly have you been engaging with ARCs? What's the plan, and any advice for other police forces around the country who are going to be moving over to the ecosystem at some point, on how best to engage the ARCs?
We've had queries from we want to get this process going. We've had queries from individual ARCs saying, look, a little bit unsure of how this happens. Obviously, we can just put them straight in touch with Echo directly, or we can give them some initial information. I think some ARCs want the reassurance that this is, a police-led or a partnership-led initiative, and they want to see if we're definitely on board. And I'll reassure them we're definitely on board, and this is the way to go. And if they want us to help them with audits in order to get their URN figures correct, then obviously we'll help with audits. Yeah, so it's basically a matter of reassuring the ARCs that this is they're not being led down the garden path. This is the way to go. All the police forces nationally will be pushing for it, although some might be slower than others. We're here to answer questions, either on the phone or by email, and give as much help as we can.
Great, thank you, David. So we're now going to move on to the question and answer portion of our event. As a reminder, to participate in the Q&A, just type your question into the text box located to the right of the presentation window, or if you can't see that, simply click the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. If we're not able to answer everything today, don't worry, we will share them with speakers who can reply offline after the session. I think we'll kick off, Mark, coming back to you here. How has the industry taken to Echo so far, have you found? How have installers taken to it? How have ARCs taken to it? Obviously, we've heard from David, and the police are beginning to take up well, but what's your viewpoint on how installers and ARCs have taken to it?
My own personal experience of the industry response has been very, very positive. I'd have to qualify that most of my audience and interaction has been with the ARCs, because that's obviously where I've been focused. But most of the installers that I've spoken to like the differentiator that it's going to provide in terms of being only available through the approved and accredited professional companies. The fact that they'll get prioritization, dispatch will be quicker, the time savings, and obviously gives them an advantage over their non-approved competitors. In terms of from the ARCs, very, very positive. They all like the technology, the approach, obviously to be able to improve accuracy. So in general, I'd have to say it's been a very good response, and not only from those directly involved installers and ARCs, but also the support partners, so all of the industry bodies, the stakeholders and partners that I mentioned before, your sponsors in CSL and BT, who have both provided pathway connectivity to Echo. So it's been superb.
Fantastic. We've got lots of questions coming in already, so thank you everyone for sending those in. One from Ian here. Are the Echo fees once per annum, per URN registration, or per subsequent alert? I don't know if you can answer that one.
Yes, certainly.
Mark?
So the Echo charges are per annum for each of the elements that are covered. So that's intruder alarm or PA. That's charged on an annual basis. Echo doesn't get involved at the moment in any of the rest of the URN process. So the installers are still the owners of that. They still liaise directly with the police for all of those parts of it. Echo fee basically covers the bit that goes from the ARC to the police forces, and that transfer and transferring that event on an automated basis. The reason David also mentioned April, the Echo year runs from the 1st of April to the 31st of March. So all connections, the declarations are made in March for the year, apart from any police force that comes on mid-year, in which terms there's a calculation and a pro rata billing for any police force that joins during the year.
Perfect. Hopefully that's answered the question there. One from David here. Hi, I noticed the NFCC and FIA were referenced. Is this in readiness for fire URNs? And is there any timescale under discussion on this?
There is communication with sorry, somebody else answering.
Sorry, yeah, sorry. There have been discussions with the fire services. I don't know what their position is with URNs. I think the first step is to get a unified policy. Mark might be able to elaborate on that, but they have, certainly the representatives that I've been in conversation with are quite keen on the idea of fire URNs, but it's getting a buy-in from all of the fire services. What do you say, Mark?
Well, Echo is definitely in communication with the fire industry. Obviously, the beauty of the police activity to introduce URN some 20 years ago provided a perfect platform to be able to utilise and aim Echo at. That conversation is ongoing with the National Fire Chiefs Council in particular, and is supported by the stakeholders and partners in the fire industry. Obviously, one of the key parts of having a URN system would be competent people, accreditation, inspection and approval, which obviously is a core feature of what Echo is involved with. So those stakeholders, those conversations are ongoing. No timescales at the moment, because as David said, there is a lot of work that would need to be done within the fire service for making a move towards some form of URN system. But it is something that Echo identifies that they could actually help with. So that is another thing that we could bring to the party if that's the way it moves.
Okay, great. Got a question here from Ross. If a URN has been withdrawn, will we, as an ARC, be notified, and will this be transferred to the alarm installation company?
Yeah, the notification process is conducted in the usual way, i.e., it's done directly by the police service to the alarm company and also to the end user. But also, if an incident has passed from a URN that's been withdrawn, then that will be made clear on the response message from the police service via Echo back to the ARC that is a withdrawn URN, and that there will be no response. So there won't be any sort of unrealistic expectations from the point of view of URNs that are withdrawn.
I think to add to that from an ECHO point of view is that what ECHO does is it takes a declaration of the number of URNs being monitored by an ARC to a particular police force. At that time, the installers will be asked by the ARC to check that they want all of those URNs. Any that are withdrawn are not included within the count. If they are reinstated, then that will be compensated and covered for at the next time that the ARC makes a declaration. There is no upward or downward adjustment through the year, and we don't collect any data on individual URN numbers or anything of that nature. It's just a cover for the amount of URNs that are being monitored at a snapshot time, which is basically the beginning of every year. And then if any URNs get added or subtracted from that, then the service still covers them, and the actual response to each individual URN is still covered by the police, and as David said, communicated back through the ECHO system. Great.
Loads of questions coming in here, so thank you everyone for your engagement. Question here from Steve for you, Mark. What is the definition of an ARC? Are telecare call centres included in this, for example?
The definition of an ARC is that it has to be approved and accredited by either the NSI or the SSAIB, and the service is only open to ARCs that are accredited by that, monitoring URNs issued by the police to approved installers.
Fantastic. One for you here, David, from Ian. What do the police actually receive? Just a notification of an alarm, or are they actually receiving the video of the intruder with any explanation?
No, currently it's just a very simple format message which gives us the unique reference number, the type of alarm, i.e. whether it's intruder, personal attack, confirmed sequential, confirmed video, etc., and a portion of the address. There's no supplementary media or anything currently on the message. However, I'm sure that we're looking to develop this further as time goes on.
Okay, great. Back to you here, Mark. We are a large utility company who self-deliver our CCTV systems. These are monitored by an ECHO registered company. In order to ensure compliance, does our installer require ECHO certification, and how do they do this?
So there is no certification for ECHO. The service is only available for the URNs that are issued to the approved installer. As long as they're monitored by an ECHO connected ARC, then they will be passed through the service to the police. So if the end user utility company is using an approved installer through an ARC, then everything would be fine. Any partner of ECHO, so the ARCs are allowed to use the ECHO connected logo and to promote themselves as such, and any installer would also be invited, if they are an approved installer, which are monitoring, have URNs being monitored by an ARC in an ECHO connected police force, so a little bit of a long chain, then they are also invited to use the ECHO connected logos. Those guidelines are available from us, and can be downloaded, and any installers or ARCs would be welcomed on board to use those logos and to promote themselves and the ECHO service, as well as download the end user flyer that's available on the ECHO website.
Superb. Open door there, open welcome for anyone who's accredited. We've got one from Simon here, probably for you, David. Where a venue is on or very close to the boundary between police jurisdictions, whilst the primary police service responsible for being alerted about the alarm will be notified, can ECHO also alert neighbouring police to the alarm, or will police still have to call each other separately, as the case is now?
Yeah, that process will be dealt with by the force. So they'll have their own internal messaging system, which for some forces it's MATE, which funny enough is a very similar format messaging system to the ECHO messaging system, and they will communicate between each other if there's a need to communicate about a specific alarm. I mean, bearing in mind that these are primarily fixed locations, so there wouldn't normally be a need to notify an adjacent force. We haven't actually expanded to lone workers yet, because obviously lone workers are mobile devices. So that will be probably one of the next phases, looking at how we deal with anything that hasn't got a fixed location.
Great. I think there was actually a question about. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
No, I was just going to add, in terms of the aspect of something like lone worker. Obviously, Echo, it is a standalone entity, but it is a partnership as well with a lot of other stakeholders. And for instance, people like the BSIA, who have a lone worker section, will be looking at this sort of issue and seeing what they can bring to the discussions, as well as, so not just relying on the police to actually decide how this would be done, but those sort of bodies and partnerships are looking at all of these issues, maybe not visible or actually in the evident in the marketplace, but certainly behind the scenes, always a lot of work going on of how this can be further rolled out for the benefit of the industry.
Absolutely. I think there was a question about updates to lone worker personal alarms from Adam. So hopefully, Adam, that's answered your question there. One coming in from Steve here for you, David. I think you kind of brushed over, sort of mentioned this in your kind of viewpoint at the end of the presentation, but the question is, it has been 2 months since Echo connection in London and Essex. Have there been any concerns or feedback over missed calls or incorrect information so far?
No, not that I'm aware of. I do check the Echo incidents quite regularly, and also we've had no feedback to suggest that there's been any change to the level of service, or negative change to the level of service since we've had these ARCs onboarded. So touch wood, yeah, it's all good news so far.
Fantastic. One here from David. It doesn't look like if any new or amended signaling kit is required on site, assuming, of course, it already is on a URN. So can all our sites continue with the existing signaling hardware?
I think that's probably one for me. Yeah. There is nothing specifically required for Echo. The Echo service and all the technology side of it is between the ARC and the police force. That's where we sit. It's also important to say that the Echo service in no way takes anything responsibility away from the ARC at all. It doesn't take any messages direct from site. It makes no difference whether it's what brand of equipment is on site either. And the only thing that will make a change is obviously the all IP rollout and the changes to the PSTN network. If any devices out there are going to be affected by that, then they will also be affected, that they won't be received at the alarm receiving centre and therefore can't be transferred over Echo. But there is nothing specific to be installed for installers to do. No training for them required, nothing that they would need to install on site, no new certification or training at all. Everything is done between the alarm receiving centre and the police, and the alarm receiving centre maintain control and responsibility over all of the decision making. The only thing they do different is, rather than pick the phone up, they effectively push a button to transmit the information via Echo.
Great. I was just about to ask about training actually for installers, so I'm sure that will be music to their ears. How may this affect staffing levels at ARCs, and how will staffing levels remain high enough to handle calls that may not be able to be passed through Echo, for example?
Well, the first thing to understand is that the individual contracts that the ARCs have to sign with Echo has a clause in it that the ARC has to retain the ability to operate as it does now in terms of making phone calls. In the event that the police national networks are down, Echo is down, the connectivity between their alarm receiving centre and Echo is affected, all of which in any of those instances they will get notification and they have to retain the capability and responsibility to operate as they do currently.
Great. Question here from Henry. Are there plans to use Echo for CCTV systems? It's a huge area within the industry where unregulated systems and ARCs do not comply with BS 8418 requirements. Echo on CCTV URNs may help manage this. What are your thoughts? I'll go to you, Mark, first, and then we'll come to David afterwards.
Well, I think in terms of scope, detector-activated CCTVs almost certainly, since the changes were made to the standard, I believe in September, will come into scope. The problem that Echo would have in terms of what imagery could be sent is the fact that there is no sort of standardization. So I think actual transfer of images and sending links is not currently achievable, but certainly detector activated CCTV systems that have URNs are coming into scope with Echo.
Okay, great. David, did you want anything to add to that? Or?
Yeah, just to add, from the sort of compliance point of view, if it's just down to receiving a video confirmed incident via that link, via Echo, then in the future, what we're looking at is that the compliant companies, that's the installers and the ARCs, that have compliant 8418 systems or video confirmed 8243 systems, they will be able to pass those incidents via the Echo Hub, and then anyone else that's not compliant have only got the 999 route. So it's going to be much more obvious to police control rooms, and much easier to differentiate between the compliant and the non-compliant. So the filtering rate, in theory, should improve, and it's one of the big benefits that's been sold about Echo is the ability for us as police forces, police services, to be able to differentiate between the compliant and non-compliant.
Okay, great. A question here from Matthew. With loads of questions. Thank you everyone for sending them in. Bear with me a little bit on this one. I'm not aware of this exact software, so if I say it wrong, just let me know. Is Echo compatible with IMM-IX software?
It is, yes. We've been speaking to IMIX recently. They've had all of the necessary information, and I believe they've got their first ARC either on board or actually at the process of testing. So yes, IMIX is one of the partners that we've been in communication with fairly recently, actually. But yeah, they're moving forward with it.
Great stuff. Question from Ian again. How can the police contact the ARC RE further info on the call, especially if the ARC, for example, is watching live intruder footage?
If I give the Echo response first, then David can expand on that. Mm-hmm. One of the things that Echo gets back to the ARC from the police is the incident number. And I believe then with the incident number, all from the communication can be by phone and using that incident number.
Yeah. Sorry, is that everything from you, Mark?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I muted myself. Yeah. Over to David for the actual accuracy bit.
Just to add to that. So what, as Mark said, once the ARC's got the incident number, they've got the ability to update the remarks directly into the CAD message. The CAD being in the Met terms, CAD being the command and control platform. So, for example, if they have some descriptions from the video, they can update the remarks and send that on that particular incident number to update the incident, the CAD incident. If they wanted to provide video, currently the way of doing it was they would speak to an operator direct, give them a link, email them or give them a link over the phone, and they have to get the operator to open up that link directly. But I'm sure it won't be too long before we can have a facility to provide that information more easily, more efficiently.
Great, thank you very much. We've got time for one more question. So one from Natasha coming here. Through the ARC we use, if a confirmed alarm is received, the ARC call the police and then the key holder. At this point, if the key holder advises that it is a false alarm or calls the ARC back to advise it is a false alarm, the ARC will not ask the police to stand down unless the key holder actually asks for this to be actioned. If the police have been dispatched through Echo, what is the process for standing down the response if it is a false alarm? David, I don't know if you're best placed to answer this one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is to update that incident with a cancellation request. As I said earlier on, the checking on the cancellation request, they are being dealt with pretty quickly. In a lot of cases, we get cancellations before officers are even assigned. So, you know, they're not even en route, which is good. In the case where they have been assigned, we're always still happy to take a cancellation because we'd rather stop a response sort of halfway than have them have the risk of an accident or whatever en route on blues and twos to an incident which has been cancelled. So always happy to take a cancellation even if it's slightly later, but generally the ones I've seen tend to be cancelled in time and as I say, before response has even been assigned.
Great, thank you very much. Hopefully, Natasha, that answers your question. Right, just as a final thought, Mark, I don't know what would be your message to installers and ARCs as to why they need to be aware and get on board with Echo?
Well, I think obviously the benefits it brings to them of the differentiation between the professional market and their competitors, to use the benefits of the extra speed, the time saving, the increased accuracy, and that effectively to get on board, because it is going to continue to roll out. They're going to need to be more and more aware of it, and I think to understand it sooner, then the better it will be for them.
Excellent. Right, that's all we've got time for today. We had loads of questions, so thank you everyone for sending those in. Really appreciate them, and hopefully you got the answers you were looking for. Thank you to all of those who attended, and also a big thank you, obviously, to Mark and David for providing your expertise on today's topic. Thank you as well to our sponsors, CSL and BT Redcare, who are, of course, as we've discussed, involved in the Echo process itself, as well as to everyone in the audience. We really appreciate your attention and participation today. Within the next 24 hours, you will receive a personalised follow-up email with details and a link to today's presentation on demand, so you can watch it back very easily. Please feel free to invite your colleagues and your peers who may not have been available to listen to the event today. Sadly, this is the last webinar of the year from us, so on behalf of everyone from the IFSEC, FireX and IFSEC Global team, we hope you have a great Christmas and New Year, and look forward to seeing everyone in the industry back together again at IFSEC International on the 17th through to the 19th of May at London's Excel. But that's it from us today. Thank you for your time, everyone, and have a great day.